When you try to think of a Team Fortress 2 class that you really hate, the Pyro is highly likely to be on your list. And from my experience talking and interacting with a large portion of the Team Fortress 2 community, I've learned that so many people believe that Pyro is an overpowered class that requires no skill, and that whoever dares to play Pyro should be publicly crucified and tortured. I've seen people just hate on me solely because I am a Pyro main, and I don't think they're just being sarcastic. Today, I hope to discuss and discover whether Pyro really deserves this hate, and whether the Pyro is really the easiest class in Team Fortress 2, hopefully shedding some light on this controversial topic, and answering the question, is the Pyro bad or badass? Now, before we get into the real nitty gritty, I want to let you guys know that I am a Pyro main. Sure, I play Soldier a lot, if not more than I actually play Pyro, but my heart always lays with the Pyro, and my skills do too. So, I will be discussing the topics as someone who has a lot of experience playing Pyro in casual and competitive. If you guys aren't subscribed already, make sure you subscribe because I post sub-daily videos, so check them out. First off, I really want to get this part covered early on. It's hard to say, but the Pyro is easy, if not one of the most easy classes in Team Fortress 2. Now, by no means does that mean that when you pick up Pyro for the first time, you'll be a pro player. But what I do mean is that the Pyro has a high skill floor. So basically, it's super duper hard to completely suck as Pyro. No matter if you're playing TF2 for the first time, or after 2,000 hours, you're still likely going to be able to make an impact on your team. Unlike classes such as Spy or Scout, who will take hours of practicing and learning to make the slightest impact on your team. So now that we got that out of the way, you already know the main reason people hate Pyro, and why people who play Pyro get so much disrespect. Many people just assume that every single aspect of the Pyro is flat out easy and brainless. However, that is actually far from the truth. While the Pyro's skill ceiling isn't anywhere near as high as the snipers or medics, the Pyro has a reasonable skill ceiling, meaning that if you work hard enough, you can still be a credit to the team. And that means that there's also plenty of things to learn while playing Pyro, different combos, different ways of moving around, mobility, as well as positioning. Now, with the Pyro's skill floor being a bit higher up than other classes, it causes a really common misconception. And that misconception is that the Pyro is overpowered. While in reality, he isn't overpowered. He is easy, sure, but he's easily countered by a good player. Now, there's quite a large difference between a class being easy and a class being overpowered. So if you're confused, I'm basically saying that yes, Pyro is easy to play sufficiently. However, it is not easy to excel as Pyro, and it will actually take training and skill. Now, I believe there's two types of common Pyros that you'll see in your game. The first one being the WN1 Pyro. This Pyro is the new Pyro who runs around spraying flames at anything that moves. These players may score a few easy kills, but they're extremely easy to counter with some basic positioning and aim. These players are usually the types of people who are new to the game or just haven't learnt the full potential of Pyro yet. These types of players are usually the ones who annoy people the most because when they die from them, they feel like it wasn't deserved and that they should just go to hell. And then, here comes along the second type of Pyro, who I like to call the Combo Pyro. Now, these are the types of Pyros who you should respect, and who you should hold in high regard. These guys have put hours into learning how the Pyro works, as well as all of his little niche weapons and tools. They've mastered mechanics such as air blasting, as well as known combos such as the Flare Punch, Reserve Shooter, Puff and Sting, and more. When they get into your game, they are truly a sight to see, and you'll definitely know a Combo Pyro when you see one. And they may be annoying to play against because of their skill, but they're a true badass and credit to team. Now, the main issue that Pyro mains face is that everyone assumes they are the first type of Pyro, instantly flaming them with name calling and toxicity. They do this without even watching how they're playing, they just see that they're a Pyro and instantly think they must be bad, WM1, and then they should go to hell. However, in my opinion, people should be able to play whatever class they want and play it however they want without receiving any flack in the first place. But I can sort of understand how you would get annoyed if you were killed by a new player who was just spamming one button the entire game. So having this issue where people always assume that because someone's playing a class that they're a bad player, it really puts people off playing Pyro in the first place. And Pyro by no means is unstoppable. In fact, with just a tiny little bit of game sense, positioning, and skill, the Pyro is easily countered and is easily one of the most weaker classes in the game. So I guess now I'll tell you guys some different ways that you can counter the Pyro, so if you see one in game, then you can verse them easily without any problems. Alright, so the most common mistake I see that people make is by not keeping the distance between them and a Pyro at a maximum. Seriously guys, if you keep a good distance from you and the Pyro, their primary weapon becomes useless. Now, the second most common mistake I see people make while challenging a Pyro is by firing projectiles directly towards the Pyro. When versing a Pyro, whatever projectile you shoot, they can likely reflect. So when you're versing a skilled Pyro, make sure you bring out your hit scan weapon so you can get that easy kill. And if you make either of those mistakes, your fights against the Pyro should be easy as cake. So I have a question for you guys now, which you will answer in the comments. Do you think the Pyro is bad or badass? Personally for me, I think the Pyro can be both. I feel like when you're versing a Pyro that only uses one weapon and doesn't use the reflect feature or the mechanics, I feel like they're kind of bad, and they make a bad name for Pyros. But then again, I understand that they're probably just newer to the game, or newer to Pyro. What I think is badass is when I see a Pyro going out with the reflex, the flare punch, the reserve shooter, any of those weapons, and they're just reflecting rockets right and left. They're doing detonator jumps, they're moving around the maps, they're doing combos with the extinguisher. I find that awesome, and I think that's super respectable. Combo Pyros are truly badass. So it's sort of interesting with a Pyro, you can sort of be bad as well as badass. I guess it just depends on your playstyle, how long you've played the game for, etc. Either way, that's where we're going to sum up this video for today. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Bye.